Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Of course, it's Monday, which means that we have brand new artwork on set. And joining us this morning is artist Anthony Tony Booz. Good morning, Tony, and welcome.
Morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And before we get into your artwork, it would be great to hear a little bit about your journey.
Oh, born in 1947 and gone through a whole bunch of experiences. I was a mortician at one time. I'm a qualified commercial artist. Traveled a lot in England and so on, and came back here. I worked with many of your old genre in TTT, you know, Brian Waller and Hollywood Todier and the whole lot, you know. And well, made full circle. I'm now 77. And this is where I've ended up.
How does it feel, full circle, to be back here displaying your artwork with us?
Strange.
Yeah.
Because this very studio I worked in, you know, I did a lot of set designing and so on. And long before you were here, there was an American boat that came down, and it was eventually found that they were the sort of spy activities. And I was involved in that. And I mean, I remember Lord Shorty and Shorty I, and when they first started out, you know, and it's strange. Really makes me feel very old.
Very experienced.
Yes.
And I'm sure if these walls could talk, you could probably give the walls a run for their money.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
So let's talk a little bit about your influences, because one of the things I would have seen, Tony, was that you grew up with a carnival influence, but you also did religious iconography as well. That's quite an interesting
marriage. I'm a Catholic. My brother John is a priest in Montreal right now. He was in Burkina Faso for many years, up of Volta. And I have done a lot. I could have brought paintings that I've done of Christ. You know, especially, I'd give Mel Gibson a run for his money, because a painting I did of Jesus, everyone who has ever seen it, it's really very sad. It's very brutal, because the Romans weren't easy in when they dealt with people that they didn't like.
Right.
And well, I've painted a lot of icons, you know, so that's it.
Now, aside from painting a lot of icons as well, you also did some cartooning.
Oh, I'm big on that.
Big on that.
I'm big on that.
We'll get a bit more into that as well when we look at some of the paintings. But what is your preferred medium? I mean, you've been painting for years. Acrylics.
Because I've worked in oils and well, a whole lot. But I find acrylics easier to control.
Easier to control.
Yeah.
And what about the message that you put onto canvas? Is there any particular message or main interest that you want to be displayed?
That particular one there with Called Friends, it shows the relationship between drugs and criminality and vagrancy and death. That's a message right there.
Yeah.
All of these, for instance, that one there, the Aurora Borealis. According to Eskimo law, the souls of the deceased ride on the thing of the Aurora Borealis.
Before we get a bit further into the Aurora Borealis, the one that we have on screen right now, you said this is titled Friends?
Yeah.
And
loud and clear.
Go through with us a little bit of the message behind this. You mentioned vagrancy.
Well, you have your cocaine heading towards Friends. I didn't do a accurate, should we say, marijuana, because I know marijuana leaves you much fatter. But I didn't want to hide what I wanted to say. You can see just behind the skull a fellow in handcuffs.
Right.
Basically, that's your criminality right there. And this is where all these young people that are getting involved in it now, this is where it ends up. That's what it's important. It's a very important statement, I think.
Yeah, it's an important statement. So we see the theme of justice as well.
Yeah.
Coming through.
Of course.
And how long would this have taken you to do?
Maybe a week. I tend to work very quickly. If I have an image in my mind, it comes out, you know.
Is it something that you draft prior to, like maybe you sketch, or you just go straight to canvas with paints?
Go straight to canvas. Because it's so, for instance, for a while,
This is the one that's similar, the carnival costume.
Right. That is a carnival costume. Fire New Eye is exactly that. You're in trouble. You know? And, something that I created. And this one, Going Home, is just a normal painting of a guy walking past bamboo and going home with his donkey. You know, just. But there's so many other things I could have brought, you know, pencils.
So is there any particular reason why you chose these ones to bring for us?
No, you all chose it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't choose.
Well, they're definitely quite vibrant. Let's go back to the one where you were speaking about the Aurora Borealis. It's quite interesting that you mentioned that, because one of the first things looking at it I thought of was a carnival costume.
It can be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
But walk us through these suits, because we're seeing the carnival king or queen.
Right.
Or let's say the individual, and it looks as though it's almost some sort of like crystals.
That's
kind
right.
of thing.
I have to put my kudos to my wife. She's excellent when it comes to decorating.
Yeah.
And she did it, you know, and I got what I wanted. And I think if I can get it on stage with that,
yeah,
it'll give Minchell a run for his money.
I mean, and there you go.
And I honestly believe so.
Yeah.
But it's just, I know I was never in the I've always been with bands, you know, like Steve Young and all these others. But actually to take part as a senior person, no.
Right.
So
as you mentioned that you were always in the carnival arena, particularly with your parents, how did that involvement come about?
okay. Years ago, Carnival no longer has floats.
Right, yeah.
There are no longer floats. And there were people that rule the roost until my parents came around. And they did things like Symbol of Bacchus, the Wedgwood plaque. And they blew people away. And they took over. And that's where I started, you know, as a floats. I was only a little boy, about 12. And stuck with Carnival and stuck with my art, that's it.
That must have been an awe-inspiring experience to see these floats at such a young age.
Oh yeah, but they don't have floats again, you know. I don't know why, but...
Now we've migrated to, what are they, carts and trucks?
What's that?
Carts and trucks, we've migrated to a different way. I think a similar sentiment, but a little bit different.
I'm sorry I have to say this on set, but I don't particularly like the way Carnival is going in terms of costuming.
Yeah.
You know.
I think it's a sentiment many will share, but what's your view of the way that it's
If I had a chance, that's what I'll put. I'll put as costume, because something that is really depicting. You know, you see them, you know, these costumes come out and they say, oh, it's a coquelicot. Where the hell is a coquelicot? Look at
seeing feathers.
A bunch of feathers. And everything sexual, very sexual. You know, women have taken over where that is concerned, but I think it'll die a quick death soon. I don't think it's going to last. People get bored.
Well, this is true. We do see, of course, attention spans have definitely depleted over the years, to say the least.
But that will resurrect it.
So let's speak about this. You said this is Fire and Chihuahua.
Yeah,
right?
Fire and Chihuahua.
So Fire and Chihuahua. So what mediums did you use? Because I'm noticing some glitter as well.
Again, my wife. She's a boss. She without her, I could never get that.
This was inspired by a costume you saw, or this is something that just came?
Straight. And I have found many more extravagant ones.
Right.
But they chose these, and well, I had to bring those, you know.
All right, so let's talk about the next one here. I like your next one particularly. You said this is Going Home.
Yeah, just Going Home.
And was this inspired by something you saw, or again just from?
It was something I saw, and I adapted to it. I changed the whole, for instance, the ground there to the front was very orange, you know, and I made a pathway so it actually looks worn, you know.
Right.
And it's a kind of it's not the cathedral.
No, it's not.
It's not, because on one side you have more like bush and thorn, and then you have the bamboo, you know. So it's a joining of both, you know.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to ask, since this is something you would have seen, what area of Trinidad and Tobago is this?
Right here.
Right here, okay.
Right there. Wait here, Trinidad, be right there.
And how long did this one take to do?
I would say about 2 weeks.
Okay.
About 2 weeks. Costumes don't take, to get down to basic costume, just going back to that, it doesn't take long, but it's the decorating that takes time, you know.
And it takes time to dry as well.
Yeah.
So Before we close our conversation this morning, for those who are interested in seeing some of your work, as you mentioned, you have a lot more work to share. Where can we access it?
Well, there is my call card.
Okay.
And I can give you anthonybooze@hotmail.com.
Okay.
My phone number is there as well. I can, 227-5715. 5715 is my phone number.
So for those of you who are interested, 227-5715 or 792-7357 is how you can get in contact with Tony Booze, who has some incredible artwork, also does pet portraits as well, and so much more. So make sure that you get in contact with Mr. Tony Booze.
And portraits as well too. Huh?
And regular portraits as well. And people portraits also. It's been a pleasure to have you with us on set. Thank you for loaning us your artwork. We appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, and we look forward to seeing some more of your work as well.
Thank you.
Of course. Tony Booze with us this morning on the Now Morning Show as we continue our collaboration with the Art Society of Trinidad and Tobago. Stay tuned because the TTPS is on now, right after this break.